All right, welcome back to the Intangible podcast. I'm excited to have a conversation with my guy, Kyle Arrington, man, a former NFL corner, 8-year NFL career, Super Bowl champion with the New England Patriots. He led the NFL in interceptions, 2011 with 7 interceptions. He went from being a depth player to being a starting corner on a championship team. Built his career through instincts, preparation, and the next man up mentality. Played in one of the most dynamic systems in the NFL under Bill Belichick. Kyle, welcome to the Intangible podcast, my friend.
Yes, sir. No, I appreciate you having me. So delighted.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, man, I want to start at the top, man. You went from being undrafted to leading the league in interception. You know, when did that moment, you know, really bubble up for you that this was actually real? This has happened. I put this work in, and now I'm sitting here, and I'm in the moment where I'm leading the league in interception. Man, it had to be an unbelievable feeling.
I guess I did do that, didn't I? But truth be told, man, it's still surreal to this day, man. I'm just a kid, like I like to say. I'm just a kid out of Akakeek, man. And so you think Hofstra was a tongue twister, right? You know, about Akakeek, you be like, what, where? And, again, so one of those kids that just flew under the radar. Still low key to this day. Like to kind of hang my hat on, and man, just always was one of those kids who grew up to be one of those persons where I just wanted all my actions just to speak louder than my words. So what I was willing to do without the work I was willing to put in was always going to be what I was going to get out of it. And so all we could really ask for was the opportunity. Had the was fortunate to get that, but the pro day and opportunity with, things didn't quite work out in Philly or in Tampa, but New England kind of gave me a call, gave me an opportunity. And sometimes it's just time to me preparation too. It comes down to systems, it comes down to personnel, it comes down to surroundings, all of these things, right?
Right.
It all goes into the equation. And it just to be the equation that made the most sense and it worked out the best for me, especially just going back talking about that 2011 season. And just thinking about it, leading the league and being up there and tying with the likes of Charles Woodson and Eric Weddle, two greats, Hall of Fame, easy Hall of Famers, right? So being in that same pantheon, if you will, that season, man, it was special. It was special.
Man, that's awesome. I mean, you talked about system just then, and you were in multiple systems that required you to be ready. And if you're not ready, the next man's going to be ready to play. And so, how did you prepare yourself for those opportunities that you wasn't sure if it was really going to come?
Man, I credit my family. My mom, my dad, sister. They understood me. I was a very OCD, obsessed kid up to growing to an obsessed person. But sometimes, when you're passionate enough about something, you gotta be obsessed, right? And they did everything that they could to put me in a position to be successful. And then even when I, grow and evolve as a person, and what my own family, would eventually look like with my wife, my kids. The same thing as far as them making that sacrifice and understanding how obsessed I had to be during the season, during the off season. I mean, when it was the off season, really wasn't an off season for me because I was always the kind of person who was like,
but they grind.
The grind. It's all right?
Yeah.
It's all I knew. And if sometimes we like to also say as an undrafted free agent, once undrafted, always undrafted in terms of, sometimes how they treat you. Your rope will never be as long, right? As a drafted guy, a first rounder guy, anything like that. And so, man, you always gotta, go into it with that kind of mindset and just continue to outwork. You said outwork the next man. But once you really get into a place, and I had to grow and learn to get into that, adopt that kind of mindset where once you stop competing against everybody else and really start competing against yourself. Like just trying to be better.
It is, yes.
Today than you were yesterday. Man, that's the sweet spot.
3, 2, 1. Parents, the recruiting process is one of the biggest decisions you'll ever face for your child. And talent isn't enough. Coaches are looking for the intangibles like composure, coachability, communication, and leadership. And that's what Team Cube measures. Get clear insights into your child's intangibles so they stand out when it matters most. Go to teamq.io and help your athlete unlock greatness.
Your number get called in an environment like New England, you were ready for it. So what in that moment, what mattered the most for you?
In that moment, I tell you what, man, I had a first day among all first when it comes to first time impressions on the job. And so when I say they threw me in the fire, we get all the warm up stuff, individual drills out the way. We go right into one-on-ones. So as a cornerback, going up and doing one-on-one drill against the receiver. So the first time I, walk up and my first ever dress rehearsal in front of the entire organization, right? There's none other than guess who's at quarterback? Tom Brady. And then, and guess who we have walking up as a receiver? None other than Randy Moss. And so, I told myself in that moment, same thing I told myself the night before, man, going to bed with this opportunity. Just a kid, again, coming up from Hofstra University, undrafted, 1AA school, small school, who doesn't even have a program anymore. And it's just, you belong here. You put in the work here, and everything that you did to get up to this point, you earned. Nothing was ever given to you. So this is your moment. So seize it. And if you're gonna go down, you better go down swinging.
Right.
And so and so Randy had ran a skinny post, and I was able to jump in front of it and break it up. Actually, I could have intercepted the ball, truth be told, but I did break up that pass. And that moment, man, that was just all the confidence that I needed, and it gave me and took me into the rest of my practice. I actually picked off Tom during team drills, and so that was crazy. So like I said, first day on the job, picking off Tom Brady. And if you can imagine, I'm getting into the car after practice, calling everybody named Mama. Anybody that's on the phone, I didn't know if I was gonna make a career out of this thing. Like I say, I picked up Tom Brady. That was gonna be if anything, and nothing else, right? But
man,
no.
you can now rest and say, man, I was one of the guys that picked off Tom Brady. It's not very many of them.
Game practice, whatever it was, I can say, I was gonna hang my hat on that for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, man, I want to go back to your, upbringing, man, growing up and, building this kind of confidence to go in, to get to the league. Where did it all start? What was your home life like, family life, growing up and what was those things that really shaped you to say that I'm confident in myself to go out here and compete at a high level?
Man, I think that's the operative word right there. You just touched on confidence. I had the complete antithesis of it. I had zero, man. I was a kid filled with a lot of self-doubt, self-conscious, just insecurities. Like I said, I wasn't no prodigy when it came to football. Yeah. So I wasn't this natural athlete. I wasn't the most coordinated kid either. And so, I wasn't the most popular and anything like that in that regard. And so, but and the things that when I go back and talk to kids all the time now, I tell them it's, won't always be the most talented kids that make it in persons that make it in life, but you could bet your bottom dollar it's definitely going to be the most resilient. And so if I had any marketable skill set, would be my drive, would be my hunger, would be I just wanted it. And again, I had wonderful, the best parents a kid can ever ask for, who again, whatever, I was a kid, didn't really ask for much, but again, whatever, me and my sister, we needed, they made sure we had. And so just knowing those opportunities, those resources, that they were there, right? And I'd be naive to think that all households aren't built like that, right? Yeah. And so again, just going back to understanding how fortunate I was as a kid to have that type of security, right? Within my home. But so I always kind of looked at it like, man, that's a debt. That you really can't ever repay as a kid. As a parent now, just knowing and understanding all that you do for your family. And so I was like, man, but at least a good place to start for me would be not having my parents pay for college. So I was just determined to get a scholarship. So man, once I thought football could be that vehicle, I only played one season of varsity football in high school. And so I was like, when I going into my senior year as a junior, I said, when I put all my eggs in one basket And I said, this was going to be it, plan A, and I had a plan A to plan B. So, and plan B was to ensure the plan A worked. So that was it, man. Like I got bigger, I got faster, I got stronger. I did all natural too, because back then, when I was in high school, like career team was a thing, and I was like, that just didn't like flow with my system. Let's just say. And so when I tell you all natural, all just all sweat equity, and knowing and understanding, like, hey, like what I do with my team, with my coaches, that's just the bare minimum. Because I was looking at it like, man, you are who you are when no one is looking. And like when no one was looking, like I'm getting better. Like I feel like, if it's like 9, 10 in the morning or something, like 11 people getting ready for bed, I'm running around my neighborhood. I'm running sprints. Sometimes I would, going back to the word being obsessed with, right, with the dream, with the passion. I would be restless. So it'd be like 2, 3 in the morning. I remember one night it was raining outside. I was like, good. Because that's just again goes back to that hunger, how much I wanted. I'm still out in the rain, running around my neighborhood, come back on my block, running sprints, just because I knew my opponent wasn't. I knew nobody else wasn't. And however, you got to get that edge. Sometimes yes, the physical benefits, but even the psychological too.
Yeah. Well, that's a question I have for you. I've had parents reach out to me asking me, that have kids that lacks that confidence, really, even the ones that are really talented, lack confidence, as a kid, when you look back on, your childhood, and for any of the parents that are listening who has a kid that's struggling with confidence, what would you say to them and how you overcame that lack of confidence early on?
I had a great support system. I had, again, just going back to my foundation, I had parents who loved me, believed in me, supported me. I had coaches, I had teachers, I had a community, right? And then, but just like any other relationship, it's a two-way street. So you got to do your part too. And my part was just knowing and understanding what I wanted out of this deal, going back to get a scholarship. I had to be if I necessarily wasn't a freak of nature, I had to be a freak of nurture. And so that means I found myself in the weight room. When I say I found myself, like almost literally and metaphorically. So I found myself, and I mean, yes, all the aesthetic stuff is cool. I want to look good and things like that. But again, it really gave me that self-confidence inward that I could exude outward. Just as far as like knowing that just the reward is in the growth itself. Sometimes it's not always about the destination. This is just about the progress. And just seeing and witnessing in real time, like the work I was willing to put in and the results I was getting out in real time, man. That's just like it builds, like I said, that self-confidence, and that is a lasting reward. And now we live in such a time in society where it's crazy, man. We get we try to find all this validation and external resource, external things like social media and the forms of likes and followers and things like that. But that's not what's going to give you like that lasting, like I said, self-confidence, self-esteem, anything like that. So just that slow, that grind, the things that you don't necessarily get instant gratification from, instant success from, but you got to continually like work at, right? Scratch, claw, and fight for. And so that's the things that sense of accomplishment. That's what's going to give you that lasting self-confidence, self-esteem, and all these things that that you just want not only as a kid but as a person.
Right. And so what I'm hearing is, for parents that are listening is the first is having your kid truly understand what they want to get out of it. And once they understand what they want to get out of it, then you as a parent continue to encourage that so they can keep pulling it out of them. And even when you think they're not listening, they're listening. So I'm sure you was listening to your parents that just kept, feeding you the fuel that you needed to keep putting the work in and keep developing. And then that became a sense of self for you. And it showed up. It started to show up when you started to see the results. And so you may be close to the results and you just haven't seen them yet. Just keep going. And so for parents who are out there listening, like, help your kid identify what they really want to get out of sports. And they may not have it all baked out early, but it's a starting point. So appreciate you for sharing that, my man.
No doubt.
When you look at, the challenges, early on, especially in high school, what was a challenge that you was facing that you knew you had to level up? Was it not being recruited? Was it, like you said, you had to put that sweat in, putting weight on and all those different things. What was that thing that forced you to level up to get that? And I think I now remember you saying about getting that scholarship, maybe your biggest one.
Adversity, man, is the first thing that comes to mind, and it always comes in so many different forms and fashions. And I know I kind of just vaguely said that I only played 1 year of varsity football, and that was mainly due to the reason was I separated my shoulder, separated my shoulder multiple times when I first went out there, tried to play football. So, and I was just like, man, this thing maybe just not for me. So sometimes, football creates a lot of basketball players, right? But no, I mean, I just saw again how hard the football coach in my high school really went to bat for his kids. Got scouts to come out and see them, attain scholarships, and so I think on average, at least, it was like 15 at that time, like 15 seniors would get scholarships per year, something around that for and then that's those are high numbers, and so really I was like. So again, just going back to kind of put all my eggs in one basket, and sometimes it's this I don't know, physical trauma that we got to overcome, but even sometimes it's psychological and emotional, right? And so with that, you think about like separating the show. So I did what I had to do to get bigger or get faster or get stronger or be more durable and things like that. But also I had to really surrender. Because I'm a kid, I'm a person, who's just very, very like OCD. I have to control everything, and not everything is always in our control. Like seldomly, do we have anything really in our control? And I had to really, really understand that and come to terms with that, and just go out there and just know that I did everything that I could up to that point to even put myself in a position to be successful. And so, I faced everything things like that over and over and over again, whether we were trying to get over that hurdle of being gun shy, when it comes to contact, whether it was being overlooked and underestimated as far as coming out of a high school, whether it was coming out of Hofstra. And so, being let go by Philly, being let go by Tampa, and really making a mark and making things work and stick in New England. Once again, it was nothing physically I could really do more at that point. It was just mentally, thinking to myself like, man, like you already proven that you belong here. You could play in the big leagues. It's just it's really just you. You're holding yourself back, right? Yeah. So sometimes it's things like that, man. Just whether it be physical hurdles, whether it be mental hurdles. Just got to understand what kind of obstacle you're facing.
Yeah, man. Your story is making me think about like late bloomers, guys who just, takes time, guys and gals who just takes a little bit of time. They develop a little bit later, which could be late bloomers or just slow builders, just slow building to get there. And so when you think about you came into the league, you wasn't a guy, what did the league look like you early on, look like for you early on as you was trying to get your feet settled?
It was, man, you really hit a good thread right there. Because when you talk about potential, or you think about potential, and we all have it. Everybody has it. Some people show it early, and then like you just said, some people are a little bit later in life. But potential is not necessarily one thing I learned about potential, that it's not necessarily the peak of the heights you reach, but it's about how far you climb or were willing to climb to get there. And so it's about I think of it in terms of distance traveled at this point. And so, man, I was willing to go to hell and back if needed, to really, to get where I wanted to go. And but to answer your question, man, going back to things didn't really click and turn over for me mentally until I got to New England. Because even in Philly, man, when I was an undrafted free agent, went to camp in Philly, we had this thing called a leaderboard chart. And in the beginning of a training camp, so it tracks all the interceptions, pass breakups, forced fumbles, PBUs, hustle points, all these metrics. And and you think about I'm going there. I'm in that room with the likes of Hall of Famers like Brian Dawkins, Asante Samuel, Lito Shepherd, Sheldon Brown. I got Quentin Mike, like
some dogs,
some dogs, right? Some dogs in the room.
Right.
And so my name after training camp and preseason was done, my name was at the top of that list when it came to all the points being tallied. And so the problem was I wasn't necessarily having a bad preseason, but I wasn't showcasing the things I was doing in practice necessarily in the game. It wasn't translating the same. Because if you're a kid like me, you got to constantly show up every single day to catch these coaches' eyes. And I just was not doing enough in the game as opposed to how I was doing in practice. And so and again, so what again, just going back to holding myself back and understanding the kind of kid I was when in terms of like having that self-confidence, sometimes confidence issues. It no matter how old you may think you are or you get as an adult, sometimes it can rear its ugly head, and you kind of have like this imposter syndrome, if you will, and you think to yourself like, man, like what am I doing here? I don't belong here, and but even with that, it becomes self-sabotaging. And so, I understood. I did not want that to be my situation. Did not want that to be my story. And I had to just really going back to surrendering, let going all that, possible, fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of dejection, all these things. And like, man, like it's going to be what it's going to be. And if it's going to be anything, it's going to be because I control it. Right. Not anything else. Like I said, not fear or anything. And so, I know I'm going on these long-winded taking detours.
No, it's good. No, it's good, man, because that's, you keep leading me to my next question, because we as athletes, we don't want anybody to see us struggle. We're not going to let people in to see that. And so, until we're confident to, and we start to realize that we need to be vulnerable in some areas, but until then, what were you working on behind the scenes mentally that was building that confidence? Like you had a blueprint from high school, how did that blueprint start to evolve, being in the league where there's a lot more pressure, but you still want to be behind the scenes where people don't really see that you're questioning yourself and you're being harder on yourself but you go to practice and it doesn't show up, but it shows up in the game. So it had to be some work behind the scenes that you were really focused on and really grow in that area.
Talking to someone, man, it helps. I'm not ashamed to say it. And we really need to debunk and just kind of just get rid of that stigma.
Hey, I got a therapist I talk to weekly, man, today. So it's definitely I'm on track. So go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, no. As far as especially black men, man. When we have to, especially when you think about athletes and football and all these factors where it becomes more and more and more less likely that you're able to and you want to show vulnerability, because we're seen as these high octane performers, gladiators, and so if any cracks are in the armor, we less than right. It takes away maybe the allure or some of the magic or whatever that is this shiny thing that people gravitate towards as far as athletes and entertainers is concerned, right?
Superhero.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if you show Clark Kent, it's just like, you're like the rest of us. And but the crazy thing about it is we're all like that. And so I think that's more I think about it. Not even saying that, I think it's important for us to even show our kids, as much as we want to be Superman. It's important for us to show them Clark Kent more than anything else, because yes, we all go through things. We might all not go through the same experiences, but we all share the same feelings, right? And so, man, like, I mean, I'm not afraid going back to my first few years in the league, my first few trial and errors. I was scared. I was scared to be great. I didn't think I was good enough. I didn't think I deserved it. And so again, that almost self-sabotaged my career early on. But talking to and having that support system, whether it's a professional, whether it's your wife, whether it's, I don't know, people who just have your best interest at heart. You know, no matter who you are, man, sometimes we need reminders ourselves of how, just good special we are, how much we matter. And then that could just be all the confidence in the world that you need to take on and just, go outside in these worlds. And I guess the way I like to look at it is slay dragons. And it don't always have to be, one big grandiose moment, one home run, right? It could just be one dragon at a time. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, I mean, we think about, as a society, we look at the success and it's like it's overnight, and so, but when you really dig down into it, there's so much work goes into what success look like. And so when you think about that tough stretch and you're trying to figure it out and, you're fearful and all those different things, what did that stretch really teach you about yourself?
That's a good question. It taught me that I was willing to wait in the season, and just really made me think about football, right? Sports, you think about seasons, but life works the same way. They're seasons, man. Sometimes it's winning season. Sometimes it could be a losing season. Sometimes it could be a waiting season. And so, I experienced so many different seasons while playing, so many experiences being retired now. And so, man. So it's just understanding the kind of season that you're in, and being grateful for it all. The wins, the losses, the blood, the sweat, the tears, the pain, the gain. Being grateful for it all, like the questions, the answers. Everything. Just being grateful because it all goes into the higher purpose, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because nothing is ever wasted. No experience is either, like I said, it's either something to build off or something to learn from.
Right. Well, man, thinking about this is so amazing. You go through all these different pieces of your journey, and then you finally get your breakthrough, and you eventually step into that starting role. What was the things that you was excited about? What changed for you, and that made you ready for the opportunity, not just to be a flash in the pan, but again, like I said, you lead the league in interceptions, and so what was that shift?
You could definitely say there's a lot more confidence exuded on the outside. You walk into the facility with, but I was very intentional on nothing really changing, because I'm a kid where maybe this is also part of my journey where I'm appreciative of. I never really had the red carpet rolled out for me, and so I never kind of went in with any type of and this is nothing against anybody else. I'm just speaking for myself. Never went in with any kind of attitude or entitlement or expectations. And so, man, I wanted that to remain the same, to be the exact same person as well, to always show humility, because, I just, and again, same thing that I said earlier, where I was always the type of person where I might not always be the most demonstrative, vocally, but I always want my actions, and sometimes even inactions, to speak for me, and then knowing and understanding I'm an example for the next person. I'm now being a father or a husband. I'm an example for my kids. So no matter what we do, who we are, we never really want to. At least I never really want to tie my identity to any any accolades or any any accomplishments, whatever the case may be. Because those things are so they can be taken away. they can be taken away at, especially when you think about football, they can be taken away like in a moment's notice. And so,
Absolutely.
So unfortunately, oftentimes with guys and athletes, football players, that once that's gone, man, it's struggle. Sometimes it's struggle.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
Making that next jump.
Yeah. I mean, think about why it's so hard. You think about a doctor who spent all those years, to become a doctor, and then all of a sudden there's an accident where they can't have surgery anymore. And so there's a grieving process, and but you still have that foundation that you have to get back to. But it's hard. It's hard.
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we better pop into a quick 2 minute. This 2 minutes just like an easy going into halftime, some rapid fire questions here. So whatever pops in mind, let it rip.
Okay.
All right. Give me the first question. Give me a moment when everything clicked for you.
2009, once I was on just special teams guy, just trying to earn his bones. I had tied the record of most tackles, at least at that time, in a Patriots game with 5 with Larry Izzo, and that took me into leading the team and special teams tackles the rest of the season with 19 and only appearing in 7 games.
All right, I like that. A quarterback you picked off that meant the most to you.
Does Tom Brady count for your teammate?
We give you Tom Brady.
We got Tom Brady already.
Give me one more.
Tony Romo.
Tony Romo.
Because my wife is a Cowboys fan.
Okay.
And I don't even know why I said that. I'll say that out loud, but trust me.
Say less.
I'm still talking to someone about that, to this day.
Oh man, that's awesome. A habit that helped you become a starter.
Work, hard determination, drive. Like I said, just getting better. Getting better, getting like bigger, faster, stronger. Just leaving no stone unturned. I guess would be the best way to describe it.
Yeah, awesome. What do you think great corners see pre-snap that most don't?
Tendencies. Being students of the game help, because not every people can watch film, but not everybody knows how to watch film. So once you really understand what you're looking for, and like in pre-snap read, pre-snap tendencies, like the game becomes more cerebral, and you don't even have to be the most athletic. Everything you just enough as far as like physical attributes, and you could be the most dominant person out there on the field. Yeah.
All right. One moment you had to trust your preparation. You got to line up a guy against a guy like Randy Moss. It's in practice. He's an athletic stud. So I'm sure you had to face a receiver where you just knew I just have to trust my preparation.
I mean, that was week in, week out. I mean, I could say Calvin Johnson. I could say Antonio Brown. I could say before there was Cheetah, before there was Tyreek Hill, there was Mike Wallace. We was oh my gosh. And then when he went to Miami, we saw him twice a year. So track meet every single time. But yes, you really had to get your mind right. Not what two bags of IVs pregame.
Them speed demons.
Oh my God, I'm trying to tell you, bro.
All right, last one for you. Something you learned from a mistake.
I mean, that's an easy one, especially playing corner. Let it go. You got to let it go. Forget about it. Next play, and it works the same in life. You can't get it back. You can't. It's like a speeded arrow. Once it's gone, it's gone. It's like you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. Anything like that. So all you can do, or all you can control is what you do next and how you respond.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. All right, we're gonna jump back in, man. I want to jump into a little bit of a cultural standpoint. From a cultural standpoint, you were in New England, and everyone knows that New England had a standard, just like Pittsburgh had a standard from a culture standpoint. Being in New England, what was a different standard? Why was it a different standard, and what stood out to you right away?
Well, our standard in New England was if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. I'm messing.
Are you referring to Spygate?
You can edit that, right? But
all right. So the standard. What stood out for you from a standard standpoint?
I mean no one was above the team. And Bill didn't just he didn't just preach that. He really wore that on his half sleeves. But no, seriously, man, it didn't matter if you were like a Tom Brady or Wes Wall. I mean, anybody, Randy Moss. I'm not thinking. I want to say, but first day, Ocho Cinco got there on the team, man. Paul called him out, read him a few rights. So it really didn't matter who you were on the team, and he wasn't afraid to hold you accountable. And another thing Bill would pride himself on, just as a culture, it would be two pillars. I would say mental toughness and preparation.
Yeah, strong. You see it through and through. Coming into a new situation, being with new teammates, how hard is it to build trust with your new teammates? And is it, do you ever feel like they trust you, once you've kind of settled in?
It's as tough as you make it, I guess, individually as well as collectively. Because I'm just, you see me just on this, on personality wise, man. I'm just, happy go lucky, man. Life. Yeah. This thing that we all doing called life, man. It can be so hard at times, so short at times. I mean, we can have a little fun with it. Why not, right? So yeah, man. And just to having that kind of fun on the field, off the field, relationship chemistry with the teammates. So we were very even intentional ourselves with doing this thing called DB night every single week on Tuesdays. So we would all hang out, and just growing that bond, that familiarity. It translates, man. It really does translate on the field too. When you talk about just building that trust.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know, again, I've never had to play on an island. I was a center and I'm in the middle and I got help on both sides. But I assume, and I've seen enough of the game to know that you have to have a different mindset to play corner. You have to have different intangibles that show up to play corner, self-awareness and be self-critical in some areas. And so as a corner, you're on an island. What does that position teach you from a mental standpoint that you have to play that position at a high level?
I would say self-mastery and even mastery of self. And so many different facets of it that you could think about, even like emotional regulation. Because, especially when we talk about getting a conversation about everything going back to our kids, right? They're the foundation of the next generation. And it's one of those things where I just kind of alluded to earlier, where you can't and you don't want to necessarily react to a certain situation. You want to respond toward it, because there is a difference, right? And so, man, just being able to, hone those intangible skills and then go out there and just like, it's just, you got to win your individual battle every single play. I mean, do you want to win them all? Yes, of course. We all do. We're all competitors. But sometimes, it doesn't work like that. I had one coach who put it in a way to me where it's like, hey, sometimes gunfighters get shot, right? But we gonna go out there. We gonna keep swinging though.
Right. Man, when you watch the game, you watch other players. I know you're focused on your position, but when you're watching other corners, is it easy to tell a guy? Is it easy to spot a guy who's able to bounce back versus the guys who don't?
Absolutely. And it's just one of those things where sometimes, it's just you just can't coach. Just going back to those intangibles, when it comes to just ultimate confidence, people just exude confidence, and just know that I necessarily wasn't one of those kind of persons. And so so for me knowing and understanding that, so that means I really had to be intentional about starting fast. So when I'm starting fast and get just whatever. Sticking my nose in it on the play, on a tackle or whether, or getting in the receiver space, jamming them up, or just disrupting routes, just being as much of a disruptor I can out there on the field. And then so I mean everybody's built different, wired differently mentally, and so one of the things that you just have to have at that position is confidence, or you have to do what you can to work towards it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, man, I think when you start thinking about the transition and transition out of the league, and you've got such such a great perspective on life, but you also have the skill sets that is transferable. How was that transition for you? Now that you're retired, you got to create your new routine. You got to create your new process. How was that move and that transition for you, and not allowing that identity to be wrapped up in just football?
I think it was. I won't say it was easy. It was something. It's just like anything else, man. You got to work at. You got to work towards. And for me, again, the people that I have around me, humble me. I don't know any. I'm sure any husbands out there listening, that are married, wives will humble you.
Oh, with the quickness.
Yeah. So that didn't make it too difficult. But no, in all seriousness, really had to keep that, as you just said, man. You hit the nail on the head when it comes to keeping that routine, that structure. And I always look at it, I think I referred to it a little while back, making that second jump, because a lot of our, as a professional athlete, your career ends, in your 20s or your 30s, there's so much life to still live. And again, if you're still stuck on the things that you did do or were in the past, you're not, you're not focusing, or you're not putting your future or what that looks like front and center. And so right. Again, for me personally, it was always just about how can I be a better version of myself today than I was yesterday. And I don't know, it's just about higher purpose too. Again, so my wife, we do a lot of community work. We have our own nonprofit. Even when the things that we do for profit wise, it's really about making an impact. And so I think if I lead there, and then what follows.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the name of your nonprofit, just for anybody's out there that want to support?
The Evolve Foundation. So again, we're all about youth development, youth empowerment, and we serve in the pillars of physical health, mental health, STEM, and advocacy and outreach.
Man, that's awesome, man. Check them out. Check out his foundation. If you have a heart for youth, feel free to jump in and show your support any kind of way you can, whether that's mentor, whether that's, financially, whatever it may be, man, because these kids need mentors. They need people to continue to help build that self-esteem, because we're in an era where there's a lot that's happening on social media with the likes and, the pressures of being, something good, because that's what they see on social. And so any help you guys have out there that wants to, plug in and help support the youth, check my guy out. Well, I got a couple more questions for you, man, as we start to wrap this thing up. I'm always fascinated by people who take the time to sit down and want to write a book. I've been looking at writing a book for the last year and a half now, and I still haven't gotten through it, and it's a process. Mm-hmm. You wrote a book, a children's book called Piece It Together. What made you write that book?
My wife and I, just understanding, the demographic that we're trying to serve. I mean, our community writ large as a whole, but definitely our kids, because it's not about just passing them the baton, but making sure we pass it to them in full stride. And so we always wrestle with the concept: how do we leave this world a better place than we inherited? And
right.
Yes, I just had another one of those restless nights. And I couldn't sleep. I was obsessed, and with these words that were just kind of coming to me and formulating. And I just came downstairs in this office, flipped up the old laptop, started jotting a few things down, and it eventually evolved into this. We'll see what I did there, right? Evolved into this children's book. A great publishing team I have behind me. My wife as well. To bounce ideas off of. And so, we kind of even in that sense was the embodiment of the book, right? Pieced it together. And the messaging that we want the kids, or just anybody who reads it to take away, is that individually you can go fast, but together we can go far.
Further. Yes. Piece it together.
There you go.
Man, I love it. I love it, man. This has been awesome, man. I got a couple more questions for you, and it's a reflective question. If you had to go back and talk to that guy who that version of that undrafted version of yourself, what would you say to him?
Don't quit. Keep going.
Don't quit.
Because there were definitely times where people just think NFL, you got that shield on your back, or you represent that shield. That is all sunshine and rainbows. But man, as an undrafted free agent, small school, D1 AA guy, no real expectations or just expected of you and from you. When you go into training camp, man, you are every sense of the phrase, I guess, cannon fodder. Right?
Yeah.
They just throw you to the wolves, and it would just be some nights I'm waking up with my groin feeling like it's halfway off the bone, and I'm like, man, what are we doing? Like what am I doing right now, man? And so yeah, man, I don't know, but it was all it's all worth it. I kept grinding through, did what I had to do through that project, and that means I had to miss meals, to stay later and get extra treatment and to go right into meetings and things like that. Whatever I had to do to make it work, to stay on that field, I did. And so if I could, going back to saying to my my year one self is, again, don't quit. You're on the right track, and it'll all work itself out.
Man, that's good. That's good. Well, man, as we land this plane, my last question for you is, Kyle, when you think about, your journey, think about where you are now, what are the several intangibles that has made you who you are today?
Intangibles. A lot of the things we had already touched on. I would say drive. I would say self-motivated. I would say ambitious. I would say even radical, someone who's not afraid to, mess with the status quo. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Kyle, man, that's awesome, man. I really appreciate you jumping on with me, sharing your story. This has been a fun podcast, and you definitely see the confidence and the personality shining through, man. And I wish you nothing but success, and with your foundation and then raising your kids, man, because that becomes a full-time job.
All the wishes, hey, you can muster, all the praise you can muster on that end, but I appreciate it with these kids.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, Kyle, man, this has been awesome, man. I appreciate you joining me on Intangible Podcast.
Yes, sir. Anytime, man. Appreciate you again for having me. Dope conversation.